Guys, I have good news. Barbell Apparel is having their biggest sale of the year, and it came at a great time. Right now, you can buy any of their pants for $99. That includes athletic fit jeans, chinos, and their amazing anything pants. Barbell jeans have been sold out since February, but new stock just came in. But that won't last long. Barbell pants offer complete freedom of movement. They're as comfortable as sweatpants and built to fit athletic bodies. The quality and construction is second to none, and they're guaranteed for a full year. And that's a real guarantee, not like what most companies have. Wear it, work in it, live in it. If the clothing fails you in the first 365 days, Barbell will replace it. Barbell Apparel is here to support your fitness journey with a sizing guarantee. Bodies change. If you need a new size, we'll swap it out for a new pair. Head over to barbellapparel.com. Do it right now before this sale ends. Holly Holm's decision. Who do you think won? I must tell you guys, in my short career over here on YouTube, I believe I've been here 5 years. I don't know that I've ever spoke about a fight that was non-title and or was not on pay-per-view 6 days after it happened. I don't know that I have. I think this is a first. And in all fairness, if you put the gun on me, the same question I just asked you, who won the Holly Holm fight? If you asked me that same question, I would tell you, I think Holly won. And then I would lay out. I would be very quiet. And that would simmer around whatever living room and or audience I was in. And I would get co-signing opinions and or varying opinions for Paramount to a commercial break before Bruce Buffer got in there with the microphone and clarified it for all of us. But for some reason, here we are a week later and this discussion is still going on. It surprises me. I didn't think it was a robbery. I didn't think anybody thought it was a robbery. Not to mention, the judges didn't all see it for Vieira. It was a split decision. One judge thought that Holly had it. Seems like it's a very close fight. And I think that I have been more surprised of the Bikram, which nobody's saying it's a robbery. That's a broad stroke by me. But there is a consensus that Holly won the fight. That is something that I agree with. But how come this conversation's still going on? I'm sure there was other decisions on the card that night. I'm sure in all fairness, maybe we didn't even agree with those. Why does this one still live on? And if you do look a little bit closer, and there's a real back and forth. You've now got judges and announcers that are allegedly going to go and have a meeting. I'm very hung up on that meeting. I don't know who's organizing that meeting. I don't know what the logistics of that meeting are. But I'm sure if you just put on your critical thinking hat and you have some administrators versus cage fighters, who do you think is more likely to influence the other in this closed-door meeting? I think that's a fair question by me. In full disclosure, this meeting that Daniel Cormier has talked about on Twitter, Dominic Cruz has talked about on public on Errol Hawani's show, I was not invited to. So are my feelings hurt? Is that where this is coming from? Quite possibly. Just in full disclosure so you understand that. But I don't know what it would possibly matter what an administrator has to tell an announcer or what an announcer would ask an administrator. They aren't the judges and or the referees that's going to show up rules. They are rules set forth by the commission at the direction of an executive director who's not going to be at this meeting. So whatever comes out in this meeting is hearsay. And it's a very weird phenomenon to me that our officials and our announcers should be on the same page. If I was to agree with you guys a majority of the time, that would make us both wrong. Do you see where this gets a little bit weird? You've heard the old story about the cats and the bell, right? I mean, it's a day-old story. These cats get together and they decide, these mice get together and they decide they're going to tie a bell around the cat's neck. So every time the cat comes, it'll ding and all the other mice can hear when the cat is coming. But then the mice have to get together and they have to argue about who's going to put the bell on the cat's neck in the first place. It's one of these really important stories that you teach children and you carry through life. We're going to have a meeting between announcers and officials. But the person that set the rules isn't showing up to the meeting. So if there is a question or a back and forth, there's nobody there to decide it, not to mention its opinion. There had better not be 3 officials that walk in and sit down in a meeting that all share the same opinion. That had better not happen, or we've got the wrong officials. There is nothing collective about this. There's a reason that one person doesn't put their stamp on it. There's a reason that 3 judges exist in the very first place. It's to have the offering of different opinions and different interpretations. So why are the announcers and the officials getting together in a meeting? There would be no way to stand up and walk out of that meeting, no matter what your opinion was, and know that you've got the right opinion because the decision maker didn't show up in the first place. If the executive director and or the president of the ABC is absent at this meeting, there's no answers that can be determined anyway. It's very baffling. It really is a very baffling thing. Now let's go back to Holly Holm, guys. Let's just stay on this. Holly Holm got screwed. Says who? Says who? There was some very apparent moments of that contest that you don't know how to score. You, the viewer, do not know how to score, and you, the viewer, has never collectively agreed on how to score what is called a catch. Never. This debate goes back prior to commissions. Prior to commissions in 2001, the sport being enacted in 1993, the debate of how should you value a catch. Holly Holm was caught. Everybody that was watching, myself included, who thinks Holly won the fight, thought Holly was about to pass out. We either thought she was going to pass out or tap out, and I do mean all of us. Holly was on her feet and she was caught. The announcers had even said, this is it. I saw what the announcer saw. Out of nowhere, Holly turns a little bit. She's back facing her. How do you score that? That is a very philosophical answer that you're going to give. How do you have a near submission? You'll never convince me. You can tell me till you're blue in the face. I am not going to agree with you. There is no such thing. If you have a perfect punch, and I mean, the guy rolls and he stays blocking on this side and all of his weight's transferred and he pivots and he turns his thumb down and everything's beautiful and it doesn't land, he doesn't get any credit for that. The same thing goes with the perfect high knee or the elbow or the kick to the face. If it doesn't hit the target, it doesn't matter. Period. That makes sense what I'm saying. I don't think any of you would disagree with me. I don't think any of you think that this contest should be scored based on kata and or form. You hit the target or you don't. But you will then say the other when it comes to a submission. Boy, it was close. And we're going to call it a catch, not just an attempt. Not just an effort, a catch. A technique was set up, applied, and it was effective. Says who? Did Holly go to sleep or did she tap? Because if she didn't, it sounds a lot like the perfect right hand that didn't land. Most of you are going to disagree with that. Most of you are going to disagree with me and go, no, whoa, hey, this is different. She had her. She was sucking the life out of her and Holly was turning colors and that technique was perfectly applied. Okay, I don't disagree with you, but how in the hell do you want to score that? I'm asking you. I'm articulating a question to you and I'm asking you to articulate it back to me. How do you want to score that? We have knockdowns in this sport where that round doesn't go to the person that got the knockdown. And then we're quick to talk about boxing and how it would be a 10-9 and it would be automatic. It's a different sport. I have the foggiest idea why you're bringing in boxing. I don't know why you would do that. But the same thing goes to the grappling world. If you want to bring in that under submission underground rules, under EBI rules, why are you doing that? This is mixed martial arts. Do you give credit to the catch of the submission that was ever so close? Or is it what I'm saying? Which is close doesn't count. That shot either landed or it didn't. Is there somewhere in between? Maybe I'm not right on that. Maybe there's somewhere in between. But either way, the verbiage and the clarity does not exist. You publish rules. which means your audience to view that is anybody who can read. That sounds right to me. That makes a level of sense. There is no walk of life that should be perfectly clear and that we should all agree. Perhaps you've heard of something called the justice system. There's a lot of laws out there that you get attorneys to interpret and argue opinion, and ultimately you might get in front of a disinterested third party known as a judge. There is nothing that's black and white. It is all conversation. It is all debate. So why are we getting announcers and judges in the same room? Why are we getting announcers and officials in the same room? Is there some kind of question that they have? Because I'll be happy to answer it. Who called for this meeting? Did the judges call for the meeting? I am an announcer. Ask me, I'm happy to do it, and I'll even do it publicly. Or did one of the announcers call for the meeting? Because if the announcers called for the meeting, well, I'm happy to answer it for you too, because it's posted online. All 50 jurisdictions and that of the Associated Boxing Commission, of which withstands everything. So there's really nothing to talk about here. There's really nobody to talk to. There are rules and there is an interpretation, and those should vary. Those should be different offerings. When I ask you, should Holly have lost the round that she was caught in a submission, and some of you say absolutely, and some of you say no, you're both qualified, because there is no absolute answer, and there shouldn't be.